Greetings, fellow Ambazonians. You are welcome to the Ambazonian Communication Network, wherever you find yourself across the globe. We want to send revolutionary greetings to all of our comrades, our citizen volunteers, especially the Ambazonian Defense Forces and all Ambazonian freedom fighters on the ground and in the diaspora. You are all welcome. I want to salute all our IDPs and those of our people the way they live for refugee camp. This particular presentation, it be designed for tackle the propaganda where it be released out there by Fritz Takang. Fritz Takang, now somebody who don't know it for some time. So today I'm going to release the video where it be in circulation amongst Ambazonians on WhatsApp and on Facebook. Many of Ambazonians they ask themselves what be the meaning of these things, and it seems for target the audience but use the IG, and I go come for now for explain for now what way mean na me with my own person. So I been a CAPO Daniel, na person where you no need introduction. Na me I be the ADF. I been the Deputy Defense Chief for the Ambazonian Defense Forces. I also been the spokesman for the Ambazonian Governing Council. All na be welcome. Without much ado, we will go directly for that video for play am me gonna hear with our own mob, with our own ear, and then I go talk with my own mob which way these things it mean.
Yes.
Okay, my dear fellow Southern Cameroonians, if you zoom around here, just you zoom around there. For those who know Kwakwa and those who know Nake, this is a government practicing school that is in between Kwakwa and Naka and Nake and Kwakwa. The reason I'm making this audio is to tell you that Southern Cameroon has a problem, and this problem can only be solved through a negotiated settlement on the dialogue table. Little bit of advice. Chris, I know I want to address you particularly. This thing that you are rushing with another pastor to become a president or what is really a fallacy. I want you to stop this thing. And Marianta, at least, for what she's doing, good. Sako said he was for providence. You guys have played so much with the heart and mind of the people of Southern Cameroon. Remember Mami Happy down here? I just passed through the house over there. Think of Bole, all the burning and the children that has been killed.
So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Ambazonians, in case we don't know this boy way he did for my back, he did talk for this video. He named na Fritz Takang. Now, some person will be there for diaspora. He did present himself also like an Ambazonian activist. If he don't go for ground zero, according to which way they show him, if he shows say La Republic, he be catchy. Now, person who don't get encounter with ye, we don't talk. Now, person who know you very well. Now, person who don't suspect for a long time say he work with Agbobala and with the network of Cameroon, their intelligence, where they be try for convince fighter they made them lay out their arms, and also for the convince Ambazonia their activism for diaspora made them surrender, so that Cameroon will continue for keep Ambazonia like a colony and keep our people like slaves. So this person, a person will know it. The problem we would get them for this our liberation struggle. Now say people then defeat say they get help for the enemy for fight their own rival them or internal rivalry amongst us Ambazonia. So La Republic they don't take advantage of that. They go for Sako a page, go tell Sako say Ayabacho it no be good. Come for Ayabacho a place, he go can't talk for Ayabacho say Sako it no be good. Go talk for Siseko say Ayabacho, Siseko and Sako they no be good. By doing so, they end up for tarnish all money reputation for talk say all we will be bad. So person way you don't know or way you no be intelligent. When you see say they caution person where you don't like him, you too you go the support for them. You go even the help them for share way to way they talk because if you say it go help you. But you know if you ever succeed for life because another man is fall. For you for rise up, you need for work hard for make sure say you do the right thing. The Ambazonian Governing Council, we need to promote ourselves by helping to destroy others. Because when you get that mindset, you go end up for the work for the enemy where you don't know. We the caution Ambazonians against this boy because we know according to our intelligence say they work for the Cameroon government. No man will stand for Ambazonia to true for a heart, they no fit release you for prison. Unless na by mistake or na by God grace where some few one then go come out. We don't see say the one the way they don't release them. The Cameroon intelligence, they don't try to use them again for the field, for gather intelligence, or for send them in and go find intelligence for give them. Some cases they don't succeed. Some cases they never succeed. Not be saying at all because we know most of them. But in the case for this Fritz Takang, all intelligence will get them. It shows say it work with the Cameroon, their intelligence win will be based for the capital for Yaoundé, for behind Bastos. Now for the that DDR Center, now for the Peter Mafani Musonge office for the bilingualism committee. It did not far from the American embassy. We don't monitor that location. We know the people the way they work there. We know the staff them, including the professor them for university, where they assist Cameroon government, assist the Angote office as well as Eko and Colonel Bankwe, their intelligence. So we know very well where they go on and which way they try to do. So they try to make like they want try for criticize other group. So that Ambazonia the way they don't like that group, they don't like Chris Ano, they will carry on for the head say way we hate Chris Ano, so we will support anything where they criticize them. No, now a big mistake that. It be unpatriotic and not be the right thing to do. When I know very well say Cameroon government, time where this struggle will start with Siseko be emerge. Then try to influence Siseko, use their embedded agents and for convince Siseko, make it lead this struggle for the direction where it go fail. Make it adopt policy them where it go redefine this struggle. Because time where they be argue with the consortium leaders, with the Harmony Bokba, with Abobala at that time, they nobody listen for them, and our people they nobody listen because we know say we don't oversuffer for Cameroon their hand. Whatever way they try to do now, only for try some will calm down, be then continue for exploit we. They know say they no fit directly reach out for we. So the only way for them for stop our independence, say we will not free ourselves, me they no continue for the use we. Now for try for convince Siseko, me work the way they want that. They be use the hatred for Yabacho for do that one. At a moment, it will work with Siseko. But Siseko be na a person where he love Ambazonia, na a patriot, despite his shortcomings them. Say be feel say some of the people they actually the one do not good. Siseko he resist all attempt, including the attempt for no work with the nationalist movement and banning them. He keep on trying to engage Dr. Cho Ayaba and the other nationalist group, even in ways that were not appreciated, because those ways were tainted with people who are working for the Cameroon government. They refused Siseko from associating and working with Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba and all those who were involved in self-defense. They failed to use him the way they wanted to. They replaced Siseko with their agents who seek to use that IG to define the struggle the way Cameroon government wanted us to look like, to tarnish the reputation, do embezzlement and every nasty thing, so that we can become what Cameroon government wants us to look like in our population and in the international community, a people that nobody can deal with. That's why they promote Chris Ano and Sako have been doing what they are doing. That's why you find Cameroon agents like this who keep on citing the IG to use it as a big brush to paint the whole Ambazonia. What Cameroon government could not indict us from doing, they will use the IG to do it. That is their strategy. It has failed with the egg of C. Their infiltration have tried and they have failed with the egg of C. So I want to bring that to your attention. And what they are trying to do now using Fritz Takang is what they have failed to do using many other people, and this will also fail. It's dead on arrival. So make I play the video again and then I will tell you exactly what they try to do.
All that. You know, you cannot be in America, you cannot be in wherever you are, and you think that you can solve the solution for this problem that is happening.
So the Cameroon intelligence, they want to make the case for separate the Ambazonian leadership, for decapitate the leadership, because the leadership it don't be effective. It don't make a very good case for the international community and international organization where Cameroon no fit debate them, they no fit win them. Dr. Cho Ayaba, a leadership, it don't beat Cameroon government. So the only way for the fit go around that, now for try to cut off the leadership will be effective with ground zero. So they push a campaign for deceive our people. Say people, the Ambazonians who are in the diaspora are different from those who are on the ground. And they don't speak for those who are in the ground and they cannot help those who are on the ground. That is their propaganda. But we know this is a lie. The Ambazonian Governing Council and the Ambazonian Defense Forces are on the ground. We don't speak from thin air. It is a diaspora leadership that came from the ground, that have trained forces on the ground, that are providing inspiration and ideological leadership for our soldiers on the ground and directing military operation and has the command and control. They could not go around this argument and this reality. So they try to create an illusion and deceive our people that in fact the ADF do not exist on the ground. Despite the evidence on the contrary, they keep on playing this music on and again because that is all Cameroon government can do to undermine us and to compromise our struggle for independence. They have failed to prove that ADF is not on the ground. They have used corruption and bribery to bribe our soldiers. It has failed, and we remain an effective force politically and in command and control of our soldiers on the ground to fight for our independence. So now they have given up on the ADF and the AGOFC. They want to use the IG to blackmail Ambazonia and deceive them. And listen to their fake logic, faulty logic, full of fallacies. Listen.
Just no way that we can have a solution. A negotiated settlement is what is needed on the ground. But having government in America, having government in other places will not solve this problem.
So wait till they talk now. Say the one negotiation on the ground now. When I hear wait till Django be talk, wait till all they don't talk. Chris Anodan can talk say diaspora don't fail. Actually, now they don't fail. So the whole idea now for convince our people, especially the forces and our population, say they need a negotiation for ground. When I hear Bishop Andrew Carl, he don't come also talk say so-called peace without dialogue. All those are deceptions that will not work. Our problem is that of recolonization and annexation of the south of the Ambazonian territory by the state of Cameroon. This root causes is the only solution that must be negotiated internationally with an internationally supervised mandate to enforce any outcome of any negotiation. We shall never negotiate on the ground. We will negotiate only out of our country, and all the attempt to redefine our struggle and reposition our soldiers to align themselves with this ideology will fail. So let's continue.
The voice of Bush Hunter talking. There is much work on the ground that you cannot think about. You cannot even imagine. This your thing of election and becoming president and all that. You people are, in fact, you are out of your mind. Chris, I know your brother.
So the whole idea that the IG is out of their mind, even though it's true, is being exploited by the same people that prop up the IG and that have seek to use the IG to compromise it to represent nonsense. The IG is doing everything to show that they are a nonsense group. They are not rational. They are stupid because it is deliberate. It's to arm Cameroon with that presentation that they can use to mock our people and say that this thing has failed. But the failure of the IG is not the failure of the liberation. And there are other movements other than the IG. So what they are saying that you cannot be in the diaspora and know exactly or imagine what is going on the ground is ridiculous. We are not in the diaspora. We are on the ground. General Efang is our leader on the ground. The ADF, the most organized, structured, and biggest force on the ground, is our structure. It's our forces, and they speak for us. We speak for them. So all this notion that you cannot be on one place, you have to be on some place physically to know what is going on there, is ridiculous, and it's just a lie. The president of Rwanda, Kagame, fought and liberated Rwanda from Uganda. He was in the diaspora. The leadership that fought for Mandela to be freed and South Africa to end apartheid were all in Zimbabwe. It was all in Zimbabwe and in South Africa, neighboring countries. They fought from the diaspora. Even if you are in Yaoundé or let's say you are in Buea, how can you know what is happening in Akwaya, Kwakwa? You need somebody to tell you. The same means that you can use to know when you are in one place in Ambazonia is the same means that we have in abroad. So people who are in the diaspora actually are more connected with the ground than those who are on the ground, because we have more access to internet, we have more access to trust. Our devices cannot be searched, and our security is more stable. So it makes sense for the leadership to be in the diaspora. That's why the effective leadership we have is the governing council, which is out of the country. So what he is saying is just excuses to deceive and derail the mind of our people with this poisonous IG that is in their hands.
Just died, and now you want to become president. This is Bush Hunter who told you before my trip to Buea that don't do this my trip to Buea. It's going to expose the whole system. And indeed, remember, you were being exposed on camera.
So these people, as I tell you, the IG was supposed to be used to define the liberation and our struggle. That's why they fight everything to make sure it is only the IG. They are exclusive so that they can redefine us in a way that will suit Cameroon. And they play the game so well. You see, Chris, I know they know that it is bad to make an IG, but they are doing it anyway. Doing 1, 2, 3. The one for Nia add the whole pot soup way, the whole thing you need for Troya. But inside that pot soup, you get kanda, you get tangdong, food for cow when an egg of sea. Where you know we shake, you know they. So maybe we'll continue for listen.
Half naked, and I warned you, Cristiano, not to do this. So I'm not doing this because I have hatred for you or bitterness for you, but I'm doing this to let you know that the path in which you people are taking is not the right way. You are not older.
They are just using Chris Ann. We don't need Cameroon agents to help us to fight internal rivalry and internal opposition and internal enemies. We don't need their help. We don't need them to tell us. So they are just using Chris Anu and the IG as an excuse to make the case that they want to cut off Ground Zero from the diaspora. And that is not for Ambazonia's interest. It is for the interest of Cameroon. And those who have fallen to this falsehood are not helping Ambazonia. They are helping Cameroon. That is why Cameroon went to the extent to cut off internet to prevent diaspora communication with Ground Zero, because they know that that communication was effective and it was essential for our people to be mobilized and fight effectively to free themselves. Today, some Ambazonians want to assist in that process that the Cameroon government could not do. Unknowingly, some have been bribed, some blind by internal rivalry, the wicked black man syndrome of jealousy, envy, and they are pursuing this path, destroying our own struggle, shooting ourselves on the foot.
And me, neither is Saku older than me, neither any other person is older than me. You are able to come on the ground and defend your people and be the leader of your people or be the president of your people. If you continue to do what you are doing, you are just creating unnecessary casualties for nothing. Yeah.
So now they are coming out clear to give the logic of the enemy. Before, we were hearing this logic from Cameroon ministers, Betty Asomo and the rest, that tells you that, oh, you cannot start a seat in the diaspora and you are speaking for the people. You cannot speak in the diaspora and talking to the forces on ground and saying all these things. Now we are hearing from Ambazonians. So who are you fooling? It will not work. Our people are wiser than that. And you have CAPO Daniel, you have Sense King, your antidote. So our people should know that you can and we are effective from the diaspora, and we will continue to be effective from the diaspora.
You are just creating unnecessary casualties for nothing. And his government.
So they are talking about casualties. The job and the logic of the enemy is to remind those who fight for freedom and those who are fighting to free themselves of the cost of their freedom, and to discourage them, and that the cost is so high for you not to win. Their focus is to make you to think about the cost and to make you to forget about the benefit. Our job as liberators and true Ambazonian nationalists and patriots is to remind you about the price for freedom. Just like Jesus Christ, he says, think about the price and go through all the temptation and go through all the hardship. Suffer now for a better future tomorrow. That is our campaign, and that is the logic of victors and for freedom fighters and true Ambazonian liberators. We are telling our people that all countries in the world, America, even including France and England, fought for what they have today. For us to be free men, for us to maintain Ambazonia as a free and independent country where we can govern ourselves and create an environment for our families to pursue happiness, we must pay the price today. We must put our life on hold. We must sacrifice on Monday. We must fight, pick up arms and fight against the occupier and the genocidal regime of Yaoundé. We must focus on the price, the freedom that our people will enjoy, especially as many of our people are in the diaspora, enjoying freedom, democracy in other countries that their forefathers fought for. Now it is our time to do what we have to do to free our country and be gotten to the new generation something that we could not have from our own forebears.
Have to go on the negotiating table. Zoom the camera. It will meet you people over there in the diaspora. I have been over there and I'm here on the ground. This is Bush Hunter talking. So please, you better adjust yourself and do the right thing. Which is the right thing? The right thing is that you and Ginny also, whatsoever, the pastor of who gospel that want to be president, come on ground zero and be a fighter on ground zero, and you can be able to talk, not to these fake things that you people are doing.
So they say that you have to come on ground zero to be able to talk. No, I am not in ground zero, but I'm talking. Yes, we have come there and come out. Dr. Chuayaba launched self-defense in ground zero. Pobia used to govern that country from Switzerland, remember? In his jacuzzi. Remember, Rwanda was freed by Kagame, who was in Uganda. So we will fight Cameroon from the diaspora. It is effective, and it makes it impossible for Cameroon to win. Because no matter what they do or how many soldiers they can kill, we will continue to be able to recruit others, train each other, empower our state with their ideology, and be the voice of the voiceless. They want us to be in a position where they can suppress us and kill us and threaten us as speakers, because Cameroon seeks to destroy anybody that speaks for Ambazonia. Of course, you bush hunter, you can be there and you can talk about all these things because you are working for them. We know that people, even like Mancho BBC, who is not even advocating for independence. He stands for independence, but he's not actively advocating for it. He's in jail. Only people like you and Agbobala, who have sold their soul to the devil, can speak like this, pretending to be Ambazonians, while working and providing intelligence for the Cameroon intelligence. He is a blackleg and should be treated as such.
By the grace of God, I was in prison, I'm out of prison, I've been on the ground. I know what is happening. No matter the camp, whether it's Sako camp, whether it's Crisano camp, whether it's Marianta camp, and we know what is happening. Let me leave it there, but you guys should know that every solution must be found on the ground, not over there in the air.
So what they are trying to convince our people that every solution should be on the ground. They want to reverse what we have established internationally, that all the solution must be in the international community. The question of Ambazonia was resolved by the international community back during the time where Jongu Foncha was the Prime Minister of Ambazonia. It was in the United Nations that questions of our sovereignty, our self-determination was made. It can only be made in the international community, not there on the ground. On the ground, our people have expressed themselves and have established themselves. There are scientific polls that establish that our people want independence. It is an international matter and it must be handled in that matter. This is the idea that you must be on the ground to fight on the ground, is to set us up for Cameroon. No. You don't need to be. Pobia is not in Ambazonia to fight Ambazonia. Pobia is fighting Ambazonia from La Republique. What is the difference with us here? You don't necessarily need, General Efang don't necessarily need to be in Bamenda to lead his forces in Bamenda. How does he have information and effectively lead them? It's through communication. We have effective communication with our forces and we'll continue to lead them from here.
Have your television and have whatever you're doing. Keep scanning people. Keep doing all what you're doing. But know that the solution is on the ground. And if you cannot come on the ground, you better stay put and quiet.
So their whole idea, as we hear, is to use the IG and their scandal to define the liberation movement. That's why they always try to bundle all of us up in one thing. It will not work. It has failed completely. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you who are we dealing with here, so that you know. We know very well this guy called Fritz Takang. He used to own this TV channel that they call AI TV. He's somebody who is pushing the agenda. What you see, the people of the AMF, they are pushing. He's one of those people who are pushing for the agenda to separate ground zero leadership from our leadership in the diaspora, and the consequences we are seeing on the ground. We have seen PSS Mancon burnt down as a result of all these things. So people who are lured to support these people should be very careful of the intended consequences. Fritz Takang, as we know, was in a group created by Agbobala, who was campaigning actively to help Cameroon to stop this war without justice for Ambazonia. We have people like Malaika Loughlin, who is in the United States, one brave Ambazonian woman, and many of our comrades who were together with these people in one platform, who have testified of Agbobala spreading his gospel for federalism to look who were susceptible to use them and have them recruited by the Cameroon state to undermine our liberation struggle. When Malaika Loughlin exposed these people, she was attacked in the United States of America. in her own house. So we know who these people are, we know who they work for. They are not to be trusted, they have no credibility. They pretend to be speaking against the IG and the Chris Anu and the Sako, but they are not speaking for Ambazonia. What they offer is something that will destroy us, not help us. And that should be the benchmark of all patriot. So we have seen people like them and what they project, and they have deceived a lot of our people. The IMF people. This is a picture of the head of the IMF who is in Kondengi. The one with that dress is called St. Michael. This picture was released by the people of Sako. As you know very well from our podcast, we have told our people that the first person who was the spokesperson of this group, the AMF, on the ground was called Presido. He was in ground 1, pretending that he's in ground 0. He eventually came to ground 0, and the group of Sako Ikome, that they were also attacking. They were attacking everybody. So that was their purpose anyway, to pull the IG to that position as much as they wanted, so that the leadership in the diaspora will be decapitated. It did not work. Sako sent his Papi, General Papi, to assassinate the spokesman Presido of the AMF who was in Meme, the great state of Meme as well. St. Michael that I was working with, I worked very close with him when they created the AMC, when Saw Frontier. Nambere was also in that group. They were creating the AMF. Eventually, Nambere left the group when General Ivo was dead. I also left the group because we saw the mafia that was there. A lot of people have been compromised. Right now, they are dealing with a case in La République in Yaoundé, where these same people have asked soldiers to send the money there in prison, that they want to use those money to buy weapons, and people have been arrested in Yaoundé that Granada were supposed to be picked up. The case is ongoing. These are public information that I'm putting out there for anybody who have attention to follow what is going on in the struggle. So this is their picture they have put out there. The other guy with the glasses is called Ewane Oliver. These are the two people who created these so-called Ground Zero generals and commanders. This is not the first time they have done this project. I think almost a year ago they started this project, and it was a basis where the Cameroon government, because they were just gathering everybody who says that you are a soldier and adding you in that group, irrespective of where you are. They even added general big number in that group. From that chat group, we suspected that General Efang's number was picked up by the Cameroon military, and that number was cloned. We have repeatedly put out communique to tell our people that that number have been cloned by the Cameroon military. It was picked up there. Many individuals that we know on ground zero that were added in that group, in their search amongst many chat groups to bring in soldiers there, were now being targeted by this Cameroon intelligence program that they call Sunshine. So we know that that is where that Sunshine was born. After they could not identify every soldier that were there, they start profiling people who were in that group who were claiming to be soldiers. Some of them were just mere scammers. Some of them were soldiers that they could not located on the ground. They start exposing their pictures and their identity for Cameroon government to assassinate them. That is the level of incompetence. So people would think that these people who are calling for unity on ground zero and adding every soldier on one chat group, that they are actually competent, or that they are actually something that is going to help Ambazonia, to think about those who are behind this thing. And people like Jomba Akoro, who is coming to support them, to think about those who are supporting them. You may be deceived and think it's convenient for you to support them because you don't like the leadership that is governing, that is providing the leadership now of the governing council. But you might be supporting something that is being controlled by the Cameroon government. Today, St. Michael, who is on that picture, have been removed from Kondengi to set where nobody is seeing him. As you can see very well, this is his t-shirt. The t-shirt he is wearing is the t-shirt that was produced and shared to members of these so-called peace ambassadors that have been influenced and trained by Abobala to go to the field to convince soldiers to lay down their weapons. This is St. Michael putting on a dress meant to fight against Ambazonia. But he is the leader and the founder, till now, the controller of that group called Ground Zero Commanders and Generals Forum. He and Ewane. So, those soldiers of the ARF who have been fooled and misled by Sako Ikome, and they don't know where to go, they have been lured and they have been exploited by these guys, put into their forum. We know that the Sokadev general transporter who was there, probably because of our communication, their leadership in Ebenezer Kwanga have probably talked to him and brought him to order. But we have seen forces under General Grandpa for Bali who have now fallen prey of this compromised platform, and they are putting out warnings against the Hague of Sea, trying to fight us for what we are doing to free our country. This other person is a compromised person. He is no more in prison in Konegi. He is in SED, the so-called SED, where he's chatting with our people on behalf of the Ground Zero thing, organizing them, telling them to go and attack the ADF and all those things. So you guys should be careful. You should be careful. Your hatred for the Hague of Sea and Dr. Choyaba will lead you into trouble. So these are the people who are doing all this thing, trying to separate Ground Zero from the leadership that is in the diaspora. They are not doing so because it will help us. Whatever excuse that they find for themselves serves the enemy's purpose, works for La Republique. So every soldier who is in that group called Ground Zero generals and commanders, you are being exploited. You did not succeed as a restoration force. You must not be in this type of group for you to be relevant. If you cannot support any political leadership or the political leadership we have, remain by yourself and collaborate with other forces. And be mindful of the so-called activists that comes to you and they say they want unity. They really don't want unity. They don't want, because if they want unity, they will support collaboration. What they want is to scavenge soldiers for political relevance and to have a voice, irrespective of the consequences that it might actually compromise these soldiers. There are those who gather money in the diaspora and send to soldiers to buy influence. They may not even be competent to control these soldiers in terms of giving them command and control. They do this policy of higher pay to play. You pay and then they make you video to give allegiance, and then you give them that legitimacy and you don't follow up. They end up being corrupt by the power of the gun, and they start doing things that are going to be counterproductive to our people, including kidnapping for ransom. So these things have consequences. If I have my way, I would say that only Sokadef and the ADF should be the major forces because they have a political ideology. The IG have been compromised and they have no political ideology. Even when you beg them to do so, support them, they have left behind people like Chris Bongam who could help them to be an ideology and train their forces. Because Seseko is focused, of course he's in prison, he's so focused on his welfare. He's a patriot nevertheless, but he cannot be competent where he is to lead a force. If Sokadef and the ADF cannot provide political ideology for these forces, they should just be on their own and fight like that and benefit and collaborate with the nationalist forces. That will be my advice to every force that is out there. For the meantime, these so-called Ground Zero commanders and generals who are claiming to be something they are not credible, they are not motivated by patriotism, they are being influenced by influencers that are advising them to derail them. And those poor soldiers, majority of them, they don't even know what they have gotten themselves into. They are being used. Wise up, Ambazonia. Shine your eye. Be patriotic in whatever you do. Put Ambazonian first, and you will never make any mistake. For the meantime, your vanguards will be there. Sleeplessly, we will work 24/7 to make sure that this our freedom will come. It will not come by us imagining or dreaming. It will come by us working hard to fight all the ills, match Cameroon method by method, battle them on the field from neighborhood to neighborhood, until Ambazonia is free from Cameroon rule and Cameroon colonialism. God bless you.